Hello, everyone. Nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids. We are back. Actually, this came out a day early, believe it or not. But as always with a new fusion, I'm going to be breaking down the events that you want to look at and do and things to watch out for the fusion. In this case, it's Stokk the Broken. Yeah, it's kind of fun. It starts tomorrow, the 25th of November, which is in of itself unusual. Usually fusions start more like Thursday. This one starts on Monday, so that's definitely different. It ends on Monday, the 9th of December. Definitely, by the way, leaving room for probably a couple of weeks off. And then probably the week before Christmas, another fusion starting off. I will say right at the start, that's something for you to consider. Likely there's going to be a fusion running through Christmas. And I would be prepared for it to be a good one, just in case. I would definitely be prepared. And if that happens, you might need, for example, to do max out both summon events in the Christmas fusion if you're expecting to, miss some of the normal events because it's Christmas, right? You're just going to be busy. So that's definitely something to consider. Do you need to conserve some resources now to max out some events in the Christmas fusion and be able to therefore skip a couple events or miss a couple events in the Christmas fusion because it's Christmas? That's definitely something to consider. It's hard to know, right, how it will play out, but I would definitely be thinking about it. Yeah, that's happening there. I mean, this calendar as well has come out a day early, which is they've never done before. It's Sunday. I'm recording. This doesn't start till tomorrow. The calendar's out a day early. But I don't really think it makes any difference. But people have definitely been asking for it, and it's actually cool to see that they've done this after people asking for it. I guess this is something that's been easy enough for them to do because it's a Monday start. I guess they had this sorted out coming into the weekend so that they could actually release the calendar early. I'm guessing the more sort of mid to late week ones, they're still sort of finalizing everything on the Tuesday, Wednesday, would be my guess. But yeah, nice. I don't know. Have they listened? I don't know. Maybe. Will they get credit for listening? No. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter. Who cares? Let's go. Right. So first of all, again, I would say tournament leaderboards. Again, just ignore that. You're never going to get those. So there's really not 130. There's really 110 fragments. So you can skip 10. You can only skip 10. And seeing as I've mentioned summon events already, let's touch on those. And they're already spicy. Let's make this smaller. They're already spicy. Yeah, they're already very spicy. So we've got a summon rush at the very, very end and a champion chase in the middle. Starts on Friday, the 29th of November. Now, what is spicy about this one? This champion chase is due to be a 2x Ancients. However, this is not normal. Normally, these events, you can see the Summon Rush looks much more normal. This Champion Chase event is longer than usual. It is stretching out an extra day, at least. And that means that it's not your normal thing. So will it be a standard just 2x Ancient? I don't know. I believe that Friday, the 29th of November, is also Black Friday. I think, is it a Thursday, the 28th? I think that's Thanksgiving. It's not a holiday we celebrate in Ireland, so I don't know. But I think Friday the 29th is Black Friday then. So I'd be expecting lots of sales. We haven't had a 2x Mythical Champions event in a long time. Who knows what they'll do? They could easily mix this up. This is already very unusual. They could easily mix this up. Now, it is due to be 2x Ancients. I would say there's 15 fragments in this Champion Chase. There's 15 in the Summon Rush. I would probably aim to just get the 15 from Champion Chase, honestly. Especially if there's 2x Ancients, it's pretty easy. And you can save up like Broadmaw fusions, that sort of stuff. So you can make it a little bit easier for yourself as well, right? Broadmaw fusions, any fragments you've got, whatever. Even just doing some campaign grinding, whatever. You'll pick up some extra points. Let me see. You won't actually be doing any campaign grinding probably during this. But you could, I suppose. But yeah, I'd probably go for the Champ Chase. The Summon Rush is probably going to be fairly normal. You'll need to get the 5 fragments. And for the 5 fragments, I'd say you're looking at, I don't know, usually let's say about 5 Sacred Shards. And then it's probably about 10 to get the 15 fragments. That can vary a little bit. It might be 4 and 9. Sometimes it's been as low as like 4 and 7. It's hard to know. But yeah, it's something like that. And then for this Champion Chase, if it's Ancients, I'm not sure. To max this out, you might need about 50 or 60. But again, you can really supplement Champion Chase with a lot of other sources of points. They might even be like, because it's longer, we're going to make the points higher. Ha ha ha. They often like to do that. It kind of makes sense, right? If a champion training tournament is longer, it can have higher points because you've got longer to grind. Doesn't really make sense with shards, seeing as nothing you do really during the tournament has an impact. But hey, we'll see. We'll see. So watch this space. Watch this space. It's probably 2x ancients, but that's a mess. Let's make this smaller. Oh my god, can't write 2x. Put in ancients. Let's put a big question mark because it's a little bit weird, right? Okay, let's look at some other events. Now we know sort of the rough gist of those shards and what to expect. Classic Arena, very straightforward. We've got 2 of those. They're definitely the easiest part of the fusion. Just do your arena battles and job done. Let's do green for artifact enhancement. There are 3, as is now standard. So again, for artifact enhancement, you're probably looking to have, what, like 15 to 20 million silver for each one to be safe. You just need to save up your silver only for the artifact enhancement events. Stop as soon as you get the fragments, save up for the next one. It just requires patience. That's basically it. And yeah, then we get to the trickier stuff. So 3 dungeon divers. Dungeon divers 1, very long, gonna have high points. Dungeon divers 2, dungeon divers 3. So these are rough, always difficult. How do they overlap with our tournaments? Well, Fire Night starts tomorrow, but I wouldn't start that until Dungeon Divers begins. Okay, Dungeon Divers starts. Great, let's go and do that. And there we go, great. Spider Tournament also overlaps with this first Dungeon Divers, so that also makes this quite easy, to be honest. Likely, this Spider Tournament will end before the next Dungeon Divers begins. It just looks like it overlaps because of how they've laid it out, but it probably won't at all. So that won't happen. This Dungeon Divers here, there is likely to have nothing actually overlapping out of value on the Sunday, so do whatever. Probably just do Spider to get Dungeon Diver points quickly. And then we've got Ice Golem over here. I would be saying this Dungeon Divers here kind of sucks. This would be a good one to skip, right? Especially if you get new champions. You want to start doing some masteries for them or something, right? Skip this Dungeon Divers if you're going to max out both summon events. Remember, like, if you're skipping 10 fragments from a summon event, you don't have any, there's no other fragments you can skip, right? You can only skip 10. So, yeah, there is that. Now, if you do max out both summon events, I'd probably skip Dungeon Divers 2, and I'd probably consider skipping Dungeon Divers 3 as well. Now, Dungeon Divers 3 overlaps mostly with Dragon, and Dragon is a pretty low value dungeon, so, yeah, yeah, that's sort of basically it. So tomorrow, let's go over to purple, right? Champion training. This is a great time to do champion training. And then, you know, you pretty much can continue as you wish. I'd say probably here is pretty good. And then, you know, something like that would be sort of my thoughts. So start off on champ training tomorrow. Monday is champion training day. Do that. Once Dungeon Divers event 1 starts, do all of Fire Night tournament for that. Go back to champion training. Then when Spider tournament starts, if you still need to finish Dungeon Divers, that's a great time. It might be a bit energy intensive. I'd say Thursday, Friday, that could get quite energy intensive if you need to still finish champion training and you're also trying to get Spider done. You know, Spider, you can leave it another day. You can do it on the Sunday, but it's not giving you much value there. It's better to have it overlap the Dungeon Divers, but, you know, it depends where you're at. And yeah, then Dungeon Divers 2 starts. I just do whatever on Sunday for some Dungeon Divers 2 points if you're doing it. Ice Golem until Ice Golem is done. Then farm probably Spider because it's faster for Dungeon Divers 2. Get it done. And yeah, then over here, let's assume that you've got that done. I would start on this champion training. And then it's, you know, again, you're sort of mixing in the Dragon tournament and champion training. I mean, let's say you're going to focus more on the champion training at the end. Get Dragon done. Back to champ training, try and get Dungeon Divers 3 done as well. Again, that could be fairly energy intensive at the end. And there we go. It's maybe a little bit tricky, this fusion, I would think. I think these Dungeon Divers are pretty bad from the looks of it. I think that their overlaps aren't great. The first one actually is not bad, but it might be very energy intensive to do the champion training tournament. That's okay. You probably have got some all right reserves coming into the start of a fusion. And then I'd be expecting the end of the fusion also looks quite nasty, and that could also be quite intensive on your energy coming in, you know, Friday, Saturday, and that could be tough as well. It could be the weekend, you could be busy, so I'd be watching out for that. So yeah, I do think it looks a bit tricky. I mean, worst case scenario, again, my opinion would be you should do the full champion chase and be safe enough. So if it does come to the end and you're really struggling with like Dragon, Champ Training, Dungeon Divers 2, you can max out the summon rush and you can skip like 10 fragments somewhere here at the end. Would be my thoughts. Is just try do everything and then potentially skip something at the end. Either it's 10 points in summon rush, seems like a safe bet to skip, or skip out in like the Dungeon Divers 3 and the Dragon tournament. Like you could totally do that if you wanted. Just don't bother doing Dragon when it starts on Thursday. Wait to see what Summon Rush is, and if the Summon Rush is good, do that instead and skip Dragon Dungeon Divers 3. That's decent value as well. So you've got, I think, a few different ways to deal with this. Quick question, like, is this fusion good? Is he worth going for? In my opinion, yeah, I think he's great. I did some testing. I was impressed. If you do have, like, Theodore already, he's very like Theodore. He's like Theodore mixed with Bad L. I think that the Theodore comparison is probably more important because it's more unique, which is he can activate, sorry, not that move, this move. He can blow up poisons and HP burns. Only one turn of each of them, but he can blow them up, which is good. He activates them, right? That's really, really nice. And the new fusion can do it. It's a very rare move. It is very useful for niche teams. He's not as good, though, at soloing stuff as Theodore because he doesn't have the duration increase. So Theodore is way better as a solo champ. But Stokk is very good, actually, as like a duo champ or a full team champ for just sort of blitzing through some dungeons and whatnot. So I think he's kind of interesting. I think he's sort of worth it. But yeah, for me, he's one to definitely do. But bearing in mind, my guess, by the way, is we will probably have, I would guess, a new login champion, probably starting either Saturday, Sunday, or Monday. I think around here would make a heck of a lot of sense for a new login champion, and then for it to go further. It looks like, did my Photoshop crash or something? Doesn't want to move. That's very weird. Let me see if I can fix this. Hang on, give me a second here. All right, we're back in action. Photoshop decided not to work for a second. But yeah, I would be looking for, so we've got Siege is over here. So this right here is CVC. We have CVC. The last one was personal rewards. This one might be non-personal rewards, which would kind of make sense and then give us a CV. When would that line up, actually? So if I come over here, if we have non-personal rewards on the 3rd and 4th, we have a personal rewards CVC on the 17th and 18th. I think that's pretty likely, honestly. Squeeze one in before the end of the year. That's pretty likely. And they might be more likely to run a non-personal rewards on the 31st, the 1st, because, I mean, it's New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. I mean, I don't know if they care about that. But, yeah, this is probably not personal rewards, but we don't know for sure. And yeah, like I said, I think it's pretty likely as well that we do see big new content drop. Like we've got that new boss coming in. I think that's fairly likely to come in. It could come in here. Like I really do suspect that the start of December, the very end of November, is when they're really going to be pushing a lot of stuff. Like I said, like Black Friday, all of that. I think there'll probably be a new login champion around here. We're due one for sure, and they nearly always run one for December. Yeah, and the new clan boss. Is Stokk good for the new clan boss? I've not seen anything to suggest that he particularly would be. I haven't seen Poison look like it's particularly useful against the new clan boss, but we don't have the full info for the new clan boss yet. But I'd be going for him just purely because he's a really good Poison champion, and honestly, it's not very meta right now. But if it ever is, he's top tier. If it ever is. So that's definitely something worth considering. Like I said, if you got Theodore and Bad L, then maybe it's not so important. But then again, if you got Theodore and Bad L, you've either been very specifically lucky early game, or you're more likely been playing the game for a really long time, and it should be pretty easy for you to do a fusion at that point, one would think. But I don't know. Let me know what you think about this. Are you going for Stokk the Broken? That's sort of my take on it. Yeah, for me, simple enough plan. Do everything. And probably look to skip Summon Rush or the Dragon Dungeon Divers at the end. I think that's the goal. Thanks for watching, everybody. I will see you soon. Goodbye.